and welcome to my 10th Christmas Carol review. It's getting really hard to keep track of all this in my mind. Today is the wild card review. When I first got the idea to do this 12 Days of a Christmas Carol thing, I wanted it to be all things that we had in our video cabinet, all things that we had on tape, all things that have been in the family for my whole life. But when I counted them, I only had 11, so I needed a 12th to fill that spot, and this was going to be on TV, so I watched it. Here is my review of the 1984 version of A Christmas Carol starring George C. Scott. So what did I think? Well, first of all, George C. Scott as Ebenezer Scrooge. If you have seen my review of the 1970 Jane Eyre starring George C. Scott and Susanna York, I think in that review I pretty much gave the impression that I'm not terribly keen on George C. Scott. Since I filmed that, I've seen him in a couple more things. I still don't love the guy, but he is a capable actor, and there are certain situations where his personality traits, his physical qualities work really well. I don't think he was very well cast as Rochester, and I don't think he was very well cast as the Beast in Beauty and the Beast, but I do think he is well cast as Scrooge. His gravelly voice and gruff appearance really work well here. His Scrooge is really a jerk. He says the usual things that all Scrooges say, but he says them with this tight-lipped smile that just really conveys a malicious intent. He's actually getting an enjoyment out of being as mean and as cruel and nasty as possible. But how is everybody else? The ghosts in this are very distinctive. Marley, super creepy. They used some really great lighting for him to show off these creepy eyes, and he's got some great screams. Ghost of Christmas Past, played I think by Angela Pleasance. When she first showed up on the screen, I thought, whoa, it's David Bowie. I thought that ghost design was a little bit weak, and I also thought that the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come design was a little bit weak. It was scary, but I wanted to be closer. They have him show up like way over in the distance. They've got all this fog, and the lighting is great again, and there's lightning, and this music or sound effect that is really creepy. It's like a combination of fingernails on a chalkboard, a really squeaky gate creaking, and someone who doesn't know how to play the violin. But I just wanted to see it better. It was so shadowy and distant that I was like, give us a close-up! But I really liked The Ghost of Christmas Present. That's kind of odd for me because rarely is The Ghost of Christmas Present my favorite of the ghosts. But in this one, I don't know, he just was very likable, charismatic. He had merry eyes and a funny, infectious laugh. He really seemed to be having a good time. Of course, then all of a sudden, he's really stern and serious and comes down hard on Scrooge, which, you know, that's important. But then there were also a couple of times when he and Scrooge are having this banter back and forth, and that was really fun. I really liked that. It added some humor. Good job, Ghost of Christmas Present. Quick run through of a couple of other things that I liked. As in the 1951 and 1999 versions, they added scenes that helped bolster the story or develop character a little bit more. I especially liked in the beginning, Scrooge meeting Tiny Tim outside waiting for his father, and then going to the exchange and making a very shrewd business deal. They have a follow-up scene to the part where Scrooge's sister Fran tells him that the father is going to let him come home, and that shows Scrooge's father, and actually reveals that he is still pretty cold and stern and kind of a jerk too. Not sure if I liked that or not, but it did fill a gap. And then there was a scene where the Ghost of Christmas Past shows Belle and her family, signifying to Scrooge what might have been. A couple of other things to mention. Tiny Tim looked like he was ready to keel over. He looked like death warmed over. He was really sickly. Wow. Susanna York played Mrs. Cratchit, so that was interesting to see her and George C. Scott reunited. Not that they interact, but they were in the room together. And there was one part that really took me out of it completely, just made me snort. Scrooge has gotten to the cemetery, and the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come is indicating the grave. They have the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come move past the camera in that direction, and he's supposed to be spooky and ethereal and all that, but it looked like they had put him on a skateboard and they were pulling him. I laughed and, ooh, really bad timing for that. All in all, I'm glad I saw this. I do think it's worthy to be called a Christmas Carol classic. There were things that I liked about it and things that I thought were very effective, very well done. Though I didn't love it, and it's not going to shake any of my favorites out of their places, I am happy to be able to include it in this list of 12 Christmas carols.